Attention craft. You now fall under disinfection protocols.
Disinfection protocols?
They're trying to incinerate us!
Hold on! They're supposed to help, not shoot us out of the sky!
This is them helping. They're preventing the spread of the zombie plague to the rest of the universe.
By obliterating anything that tries to leave.
I feel as though these last few days have legitimately been me from if I was in It's Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's like it's these last few days, man. Pepe Sylvia here, Pepe Sylvia, always talking about that same guy. That's me in regards to talking conspiracy theories for Marvel Zombies, because one of the questions I got on one of my bigger videos was about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, where's Peter Quill? Where's Groot? Where's Drax? What's going on with Adam Warlock? To get the Adam Warlock question out of the way, Adam Warlock has not woken up from his cocoon yet. There's also a question that people are asking in regards to High Evolutionary. High Evolutionary is not paying attention to Earth at the moment. He does not become aware of Rocket's existence until after Endgame. So that's 5 years into the future, after the point of the initial zombie outbreak where Rocket and Groot die in this universe to zombie Thanos. Adam Warlock's still in his cocoon, which means in this universe, he is probably going to remain inside his cocoon until he is mentally an adult, which means funnily enough, this universe may actually give us a adult serious version of Adam Warlock in the near future, if they even decide to introduce the character, especially since they said that the interest in Marvel Zombies is so big that there might end up being multiple projects in the work going forward. Now, in regards to Peter Quill, Drax, Mantis, and Nebula, I think all of these people are on Earth. If you remember from Infinity War, Thanos goes to nowhere to get the reality gem from the Collector. He kidnaps Gamora and he disappears. Peter Quill and the rest of the Guardians track Thanos to Titan. They figure out that that's exactly where it is that he's going to go, and they head over there in order to head him off and catch him. This universe, Thanos did not go to Titan. Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian go to New York to get the Time Stone from Stephen Strange. They end up being killed by the zombie Avengers and then also a bunch of other zombies that were attacking them at that point in time. He goes directly to New York and gets the Time Stone from the corpse of Zombie Strange. Then from there, he goes to Wakanda to await the arrival of T'Challa and Spider-Man and Ant-Man. But here's the thing, the sequence of events that leads to Thanos being bitten and turned into a zombie, who knows? I'll make a different video about my speculation onto what exactly happened to Thanos that led to him being a zombie. But we know that after getting the Time Stone from the corpse of Strange, he goes over to Wakanda, where the only gem he needs left is the Mind Gem that the 3 remaining Avengers technically have. Here's the thing. If the Guardians of the Galaxy leave nowhere in pursuit of Thanos, and they were to go to Titan and find out that he's not there, the next destination they would go would be Earth. They would figure out that he is definitely on his way to Earth to go after the so-called Avengers, especially since they had that interaction with Thor, where Thor explains that the rest of the stones are back on Earth. They're with the Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes. The Guardians of the Galaxy would go to Earth in order to either meet up with the Avengers or chase down Thanos, because he's not at the location that they expected him to be in. I feel as though this is the most likely scenario, especially since we know that the Nova Corps has basically quarantined Earth. In the MCU, the only group of people that have ever interacted with the Nova Corps, to my knowledge, I might be wrong, but I feel as though I'm pretty right, is the Guardians of the Galaxy. It makes the most sense that the Guardians of the Galaxy would go to Earth something happened while they were on Earth that made them realize they need to contact the Nova Corps so that this infection does not leave the planet. And then the Nova Corps would show up, they would surveil the planet, realize that the Guardians are correct. Because at this point in time, by the events of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then the events of, before the events of Infinity War, the Guardians are more or less a reputable group that has worked with the Nova Corps before. So them contacting the Nova Corps and having the Nova Corps show up and basically quarantine the entire planet makes the most sense. It also makes the most sense as to why the Nova Corps was like, everything on this planet burns. You leave orbit, you die. We are lighting you up. It makes the most sense that the Guardians of the Galaxy were on Earth. They contacted the Nova Corps. Something happened and the Guardians died. And the Nova Corps was like, no. No one's leaving the planet. Absolutely no one. Everyone is staying down here. I would love to get a side story. I mentioned this before, that DC's Deceased zombie storyline had this really, really great way of telling their story, where they told the main story, then they would go back and they would have side stories involving other characters, like other members of the Bat family, other heroes that were off on like their own little journeys before everybody came together as like one big group for the final push against the big bad. I would really like if Marvel Zombies gave us that. Like, I would love if Marvel Zombies did like a Marvel Zombies Year 1 or Marvel Zombies Year 0 leading up to the events 5 years later that the series essentially takes place in. I would love that. That would be cool as hell. I would enjoy the hell out of that, because there's a whole 5-year time skip of stuff that just happens that we don't get. We don't get Wanda turning back into a human, or mentally reverting back into a human. Bucky is still out there somewhere. They confirmed Bucky is still alive after the events of the Marvel's What If episode. We also don't have an answer as to what's his name. What's going on with the rest of the 10 Rings, what Shang-Chi was up to for those 5 years, the Guardians of Comatage, what they were up to, what Bruce Banner was up to over those 5 years, because we know he fights Wanda, and then that's where the stalemate essentially ends. Another thing is more context for what heroes that end up becoming big later on are up to. Like, what's Isaiah Bradley up to? Because he's alive. Is his son still around? I know Falcon is dead, so there's no chance of them ever interacting with Falcon in any way, shape, or form. What happened with Nick Fury? Where are the rest of the Skrulls? We know that Talos and his wife and Gaia are all on Earth, especially along the lines of, like, Gravik. Even though I absolutely despise the Secret Invasion series, it would be great to see exactly what's going on with all these characters. There are so many different plot points that we can hit that I'm hoping we get to explore in the future. But my prevailing theory is that the Guardians of the Galaxy are on Earth, or they were on Earth. We do not know if they are still alive on Earth, because we know that whoever created the machine to contact the Nova Corps to tell them to quarantine the planet, they're all dead. So it could be a situation where the Guardians of the Galaxy worked with the remaining faction of humans somewhere, or members of S.H.I.E.L.D. somewhere. They created a device to contact the Nova Corps, probably scavenged from pieces of the Milano Peter Quill ship, which is why the tech was so advanced, to contact Nova Corps to come barricade the planet, and then everyone died. This may lean into the other theory people have, that the man in the seat of the Quinjet is actually Peter Quill. That will be interesting to discover down the line, that the man in the Quinjet turns out to actually be Peter Quill, who was trying to smuggle out the device at the last minute in hopes of probably contacting Nova Corps somewhere else, but then he got bit and dies and then turns, and then that's where the entire series begins. But let me know what you guys think. Comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.